All right, welcome back. Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night, and this is it. And it's talking about the top 10 greatest Super Bowl quarterbacks. And of course, Tom Brady is number one on that list. You can make an argument for a lot of guys. If you like Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, both have 4 of those rings, and Bradshaw did it with some big plays. You also have John Elway on the list, Troy Aikman's on the list. I don't know, 2 through 10 what it would be, but clearly it's 1 Brady, and eventually I think, Andrew, 2 will be Patrick Mahomes the way he's going. At the rate he gets into these Super Bowls, and if he's become the new AFC version of Tom Brady, he's going to be there for a long time.
Well, looking at that list, absolutely ridiculous that Peyton Manning would be ranked as high as he is. Peyton Manning, in his 2 Super Bowls that he won, mind you, he had 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, and Von Miller was the MVP against Carolina. Was not great in that game. The MVP award they gave to him by default when the Colts beat the Bears. They could have given it to Dominic Rhodes, the Colts running back in that game. That was in the rain in Miami, and he did not play that well. You don't see Ben on that list because despite that amazing drive to win Super Bowl 43, Bob, Ben actually has more interceptions than touchdowns in his Super Bowl career. We all know that in the Seattle game, he did not play that well. The Steelers really had a total team effort, and the quarterback was not front and center. And then in the Green Bay game, he threw an early pick 6. Now he got hit in the play, but that helped put Green Bay up 14-0, and he wasn't able to deliver on that final drive when he got the ball back. But yeah, I think that not ranking Ben in the top 10, I understand, even though he has 2 rings, because he has a defining moment with that drive, but he doesn't have impressive Super Bowl statistics as a quarterback.
The thing is, though, on the run-ups to them, he did, especially in 2005. Yeah. Those 3 games all on the road, he was outstanding.
I think that top 10, the one you showed, I think, was exclusively what they did in the Super Bowl games. So Warner, even though he's 1 and 2, is probably ranked too low. He threw for over 300 yards, Bob, I think, in every single one.
He did.
Of those games. He is the 2nd highest and the 3rd highest passing games in Super Bowl history, behind the 500th that Brady put up in a losing effort, mind you, against Philadelphia 5 years ago.
Interesting. I'm sure this is going to be at least I hope it is. It looks like on paper that it'll be something that'll catch your attention from start to finish. Let's go to the lines. We got our number 1 Cochrane Go One Better call of the night, beginning with John and Baldwin here. Andrew, let's go out to John. Hey, John.
Hi, John.
Hi, Pump, Andrew. I'm just, Pump, I was just wondering, first of all, Pump, I want to compliment you. You're the best dressed guy on sports ever.
Well, thank you. I'll pass it along.
And that's the best compliment you could pay him, John. He takes a lot of pride in his wardrobe.
I always think it's important, Andrew. And thanks, John.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Your wife does a wonderful job dressing you.
Yes,
I know
she does. Lisa takes care of that.
And bless her for that. Pump. One of the things I just wanted to talk about was Sunday's game. Do you think if Philadelphia, even odd Manson, overpowers Kansas City, the excuse is going to be Mahomes' legs bad? That's all we're going to hear about. I don't care how much Philadelphia kicks their butt. We're going to hear, Mahomes wasn't 100%, and that was the reason why. I was just wondering what you guys think about that.
Thanks, John. Andrew, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think he's had a couple of weeks now. He got through that game the other night. I assume he's going to be better. He won't be 100%. But if they get to him, I don't know that it would matter, even if he is 100%. That pass rush and the way they can take over a game defensively is pretty impressive. So I don't know if that's going to be the case. If they don't have enough receivers contributing to what happens with their offense, that could be a problem. Although I got to give them credit. They brought in some of those wide receivers you named earlier as insurance, as depth, and they made plays, big plays when they had to.
Yeah, Mahomes moved around in the AFC Championship game better than I thought he would.
Especially at the end when he was trying to get by Joseph Asai, and he did.
Right. So now that I think we've seen that, I think that injury excuse goes out the window. I think if he had gotten hurt in the Bengals game and there was an unknown and we were wondering about that ankle for 2 weeks going into that game, then I would think there might be something to what John said. But no, I think right now, the game's almost to pick 'em. These are 2 evenly matched teams. I think the expectation is that Mahomes needs to put the Chiefs on his back if they're going to win. Now, I know Kelsey's incredible, and Chris Jones had an awesome AFC Championship game where he was probably the best player on the field. But the Chiefs go as Mahomes go. They don't have a great defense. They start a lot of rookies. I think that their skill position players are obviously not as strong since the Tyreek Hill trade. I did not expect them when the season started, Bob, to get here. You know, not that they're an underdog story, but they had to make tough decisions because of their salary cap, because of the amount of money that they're giving Mahomes now. And somehow in a year where they weren't really able to make their team better this offseason, they didn't make big splashy moves. Here they are back in the Super Bowl when teams like Buffalo were expected to do better than them this year.
And I give them credit. They made that trade for Tyreek Hill, and they got a lot in return, and they didn't miss a beat. They're there in the Super Bowl, Miami, not even in the playoffs. And I know it's only 1 year, but they're going to get
They lost to Buffalo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So the point is they're out. Kansas City's moving on. Even without Tyreek Hill, a lot of people thought that was going to be something they would not be able to overcome. Let's go out to Frank in Moon Township. What's up, Frank? How you doing?
Hey, Bob. Hey, Pony. How are you guys?
Hey, Frank.
Hey, guys. Hey, a couple of things. Give me a few seconds, please. Number one, I read something about the Boston Bruins that they're taking their stars are taking less money to keep the team together. That's one thing.
They had a lot of one-year deals, not multi-year deals.
Right. And number two, let me ask you this question. I read something. They said that Hextall said if Sullivan's his guy, and if anybody on the team doesn't like it, then they can leave. If that's true, I have no idea what that means, because if Sidney says he don't want him there, he ain't going to be there, number one. And I just don't. And then they moved Connor back down again, and because of Kaepernick. I know, Bob, you told me before it's because of money, but you know what?
Yeah, but I like that kid. I wish they would let some of these younger guys play.
Yeah, you said, Bob, about money. It's about money with Carter and those guys. But you know what? If you want to win, you got to play the best guys you have. That's my point. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Frank. Well, you know, you got to get results out of Kaepernick, out of Carter, out of all those guys there so far, Andrew, and they haven't gotten that at all. And quite frankly, the three guys who remain the core of this team are still pretty good. It's the rest of them that have to pick up their games.
Yeah, and I don't know of many people that cover hockey in Pittsburgh or even ex-players who were very high on the Carter extension, the timing of it, the amount of money in years, and the Kaepernick deal. The Kaepernick deal remains one of the biggest mysteries in Penguins hockey, where you could have asked probably every single Penguins fan who was not related to Kasperi Kapanen and asked them if they liked this this signing, and they would have all universally said no. It's like the Penguins were the only people who thought that this guy was worth that money based on how he finished last season. That's the crazy thing about it. That deal made no sense based on the way the player performed at the end of the year. Bob, they didn't even get a bargain on it. It's not even like they bought low.
It's 3 times as much as Danton Heinen made, and he had a much better season than Kasperi Kapanen did.
That's what I don't get about it. You know, it's not just that they brought Kapanen back. It's the kind of deal they gave him, which seems like it's way over market value, and where there was no competition for him because they had his rights in that situation.
We're going to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to ask Andrew this question. Do you think Ron Hextall is playing a little gamesmanship by saying that his #1 pick is off the table? We'll talk about that as we continue right here. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, Pittsburgh CW.